You did hard work, you did great work, you did your best for your customer, and now it's time to get paid. And getting paid can always be a strange time. It doesn't need to be a strange time because the customer hired you to do your job, you did your job, and you did it fantastic. So you should never feel bad asking your customer for the money that they now rightfully owe to you for what you did. Who am I? I'm Greg. I'm a business owner turned consultant. I help you stop the grind and live your life. Stop grinding at a job you hate, working with people you don't like, and start living your passions, living your life on your terms, making the money and life that you want. So today we're talking about how do you get paid? What payment methods should we take with our side hustle and small business? We've heard so many different things and we're not sure what direction to go all the time. Cash is easy. Cash is simply cash. But what do we do with that cash? Do we just shove it in our pocket and pretend like it never happened? Well, that's illegal. So maybe that's not the best way to go. Should we take checks? Are checks as good as cash? All we have to do is put them in the bank, but they might bounce. Should we take credit cards? Credit cards are easy. You swipe and you pay and you go, but maybe taking credit cards is hard for a small business like yours or a side hustle. And I heard that it's very expensive to take credit cards. These are all things I've heard so many different times. So let's break them down one at a time. The first one and most obvious one is cash. We all prefer to be paid in cash because it seems like the cheapest, easiest way to go. I did my job. Now you give me cash. I have no transaction fees, no banking fees. I simply put it in the bank or in my pocket and I'm good to go. Let's break down some of the cons of cash. Well, if I take cash, I could put it in my pocket, but I still have to record it as a financial transaction and report it on my taxes. So it becomes difficult sometimes to track cash, and you should still give your customer a receipt of some kind so that they can track their expenses, and if they need to deduct their expenses in any way, that would be helpful. Also, a lot of banks have a limit to the amount of cash that you can put in without being charged a fee. Now, this may sound crazy, but it costs them money to handle cash. So they sometimes charge a fee if you put in too much money. And too much money will depend on the type of bank account you have, what that threshold is. Sometimes it's only 5 cents per thousand, sometimes it's multiple dollars. I don't know what your bank charges, but you should look up what your bank charges to deposit cash. And then look at the thresholds to where you could do it for free. So yes, cash is a great option, but you need to make sure you're putting in the proper accounting methods to make sure you're accounting for all of the cash that you're taking, and then you can properly report it on your taxes. Also make sure that the bank isn't going to charge you fees for that cash, or at least know what those fees are. Method number 2 is check. A check seems pretty simple. Somebody writes me a check for the amount of money that they owe me, and I go put the check in the bank. Let's break this one down a little bit. So it is easy, but not every customer has checks anymore. Believe it or not, a lot of millennials and younger Gen Zers don't actually have checks. They don't use checks. Some of them don't even know how to write checks. I write personally about 1 check a month. That's about all I write. And I don't really have to write that check, I just do. So checks have become inconvenient. The other reason that I personally really don't like accepting checks is they can bounce. And I don't like that because also when I put a check in the bank, it takes about a week for me to notice that a check has bounced because it needs to go through a clearing process and then come back to my bank. And then my bank notifies me that a check I deposited bounced and now they're taking the funds out of my account. This causes 2 problems. One, the funds now come out of my account, and if I had already moved those funds into something else or spent those funds, I now start bouncing things. That's a problem. The other thing is they'll charge me a fee because I had a check returned to me, so that's a problem, and then I have to go find this customer. Sometimes customers can be elusive at this point. Some of them intentionally wrote bad checks, and sometimes it's really awkward to go up to a customer and say, that check you wrote me, it didn't clear. And now what do? Do you charge them all those extra fees? Do you not charge them the fees? Checks to me are a hassle and I don't like them. So what about ACH transactions then? Aren't they like a check? That's the problem. They are like a check because they will still take a week to bounce, then come back, and then you still have to go to the customer and get the money or hunt down the customer, or maybe the customer is not available. So ACH is really just an electronic form of a check where they're not physically writing the check and you're just doing an ACH transaction. So I don't like ACH transactions because of the same reasons I don't like a check. So that pretty much leaves us with the final option of plastic. Well, credit cards and debit cards. I really do like this method. Now, as a small business, something that we need to think about, and as a side hustle, is can you even take credit cards? Yes, you can. There are plenty of services out there that will let you take credit cards without large monthly fees. A lot of credit card processors charge you a monthly fee to take credit cards. But there are smaller ones out there designed just for you, like Stripe. I'll talk about Stripe because I've used it before. Stripe will provide you with a credit card reader for your phone, or you can manually enter the credit card in your phone, or you can send them a payment request where they can enter the payment information all by themselves before you even leave the job. I really like this method. Now, Stripe, they typically don't charge a monthly fee, which is fantastic, but their payment processing fee is a little bit higher than some others. So there's a balance there of you can pay a monthly fee and lower the processing fee, or you can not pay a monthly fee and raise the processing fee. Typically, I believe Stripe is about 3% is what they charge to process a transaction. And I think it's 35 cents per transaction. So what do you do about this? Well, figure it into your cost of doing the job, of knowing that this is going to cost me an extra 3% in transaction fee. So my rate needs to cover paying the credit card company 3%, and then the rest left over is my money. Accepting credit cards as any kind of a business transaction, whether it's your side hustle or a full-time business, accepting credit cards is just another cost of doing business. I know we try and eliminate costs as much as we can, but we have cell phones, we have cars, we have internet, we have power. We have lots of costs. We have software. We have a lot of costs with our business. The reality is, accepting credit cards is just another cost. And as much as I'm going to tell you, minimize your costs as much as possible, credit cards is the fastest, easiest, most secure way for you to get paid. The other nice thing about credit cards is when you accept credit cards, customers are more likely to do business with you because it is the easiest way for them to pay. A lot of people don't carry cash. A lot of people don't carry cash anymore, or enough cash to pay you. A lot of people can't write checks anymore. So when you accept credit cards, you make it really easy for a transaction to happen. So if I offer you the option of my services and paying with a credit card, I am more likely to get a yes. I am more likely to get somebody to say they will buy my services and my goods from me because they can pay with a credit card. It gives them simplicity. They have a credit card handy. It gives them a sense of security because that credit card has fraud protection features. And sometimes they also get rewards points, and they really love getting rewards points and will actually spend more money just to get more rewards points. So getting paid as a side hustle or a small business is really simple. Accept cash, accept credit cards. I would lean away from accepting checks. Look around at the different ways that you can accept credit cards. Like I said, Stripe is one of them. That's a pretty convenient way to go. I think PayPal now even offers a way for you to accept credit cards. So look at all those options. There are great options for you. But if you're not accepting credit cards, you are going to miss out on a lot of sales. So go ahead, get into the current life we live where everybody pays with plastic, accept that plastic, accept that cash, and make tons of money. I hope this has been helpful for you. Don't forget to subscribe because subscribing really helps this channel grow and it helps you be aware of when new great content drops for you. I appreciate you. I know you can do this. Have an awesome, profitable day.